When you harken back to your childhood, what are some films that you remember the most? There are many factors to what your answer is. When you were born, what area of the world you were from. The list can go on, but for many people my age, in their 20s and 30s, The Little Mermaid was a staple in their childhood. The colorful images, the music, the fun side characters that were so memorable. If you loved it or not, you saw it, and the chances are, you know more than 50% of the lyrics to at least one song.
Come on, you poor unfortunate soul!
20 years later, there would be a Little Mermaid competitor, Ponyo. Ponyo would follow the same guidelines and basic story as Disney's The Little Mermaid, but many things would differ as well. But which one was better? First, let's see how they're similar. Both stories are based off of the Hans Christian Andersen story of The Little Mermaid. Both of these films are very different from the original source material, but the skeletal outline is similar enough for it to be recognizable. A mermaid living with her sisters in the sea. Much to their father's dismay, they long to see what the surface world has to offer. They meet a boy and they join the human world. There is a price that they pay at the end to be on the surface, and in the end, they get to stay. The original fairy tale has a much more tragic ending, but a deeper philosophical understanding of what it means to be human, the existence and discussion of a soul, and the cost of immortality. But for the most part, there are quite a few similarities between Disney's Little Mermaid and Studio Ghibli's Ponyo. First, there's a great use of red and pink colors for both Ariel and Ponyo. This one is a minor similarity, and one that is purely coincidental. Ariel has the iconic long red locks. She also wears a pink dress on land. Ponyo has a similar color scheme of wild red hair and a pink outfit. Red typically symbolizes desire in films. Both of these girls desire to be a part of the world that they were not born into. Pink symbolizes innocence, playfulness, and femininity. These girls are both young and impressionable. They need the love of others to make their dreams come true. That makes pink a great color to symbolize this. The angry and worried father also plays a part in both films. For Ariel, King Triton has a temper when it comes to Ariel's love for the surface. He goes so far as to destroy her treasures in hopes of lessening her love for humans. He tries to keep her under his control, but simply cannot control her. Ponyo is in a similar parental situation. Her father, try as he might to keep her under his watchful eye, fails miserably. Both of these dads by the end desperately try to get their daughters back, only to grow and understand that what they desire differs from what their daughters desire, and they eventually support their daughters' decisions. The final similarity I have for the two films, the character development. In The Little Mermaid, Ariel doesn't really learn a lesson. She disobeys her father, runs away, convinces a stranger to love her, and lives happily ever after. She doesn't really learn anything other than maybe don't make a deal with a sea witch. Ponyo is very similar. She runs away and turns herself into a human girl to live with her friend and his family. Regardless of all of the terrible consequences happening because of this, she eventually gets what she wants and stays in the human world. She doesn't really learn a lesson throughout the film. Both Ariel and Ponyo are used to develop all of the characters around them. They themselves are rather flatline characters. Ariel makes her father understand that he needs to listen to his children and understand them better, that what he wants for them may not be what's best for them. In Ponyo, Sasaki and his mom learn that love and family come in many forms. There are a handful of substantial differences as well. Animation aside, because we all know Disney and Ghibli have wildly different animation styles. First, the setting is obviously very different. Not only that The Little Mermaid takes place in Denmark, and Ponyo stays nestled in a beautiful Japanese town, but there is more footage of Ariel under the sea than there is of Ponyo under the sea. For Disney, The Little Mermaid is fairly 50% underwater, 50% on land, whereas Ponyo spends about 75% or more on land. The Little Mermaid has a lot of side characters, supporting roles, and a very clear villain. In Ponyo, the characters I would say are pretty limited in their roles. There isn't really a villain. Her father takes on the role of an antagonist, but certainly not a villain. But the biggest differences are in the main characters themselves. Ariel is a 16-year-old girl who yearns for land. She covets what the humans have. She wants to fall in love and be human. But mainly, she wants to be away from her family. Her story is one that is more romantically charged. She is attracted to the male prince that she saved, romantically linking the two. She is headstrong and rebellious in a defiant way. If her father tells her to do something, she blatantly disobeys him. She ends up making a deal with Ursula, the sea witch, selling her voice for legs. There is a time limit on her transformation. If she can't get the prince to fall in love with her and show it with a kiss, she will lose her human form. The outside world will not be affected by her decisions. However, things do go awry, and I'll get to that in a moment. Ponyo, on the other hand, is a child. She's only 5 years old and doesn't have a romantic love, but rather an innocent love. She loves her friends, her people, and the world. She isn't romantically in love with Sasaki, but she loves him like family. Her rebellion is more of a mischievous one. She very much is a stubborn little girl. She yearns for the surface out of curiosity and spontaneity. While she doesn't make a deal with any witches or supernatural beings, she does make a pact of sorts by drinking the blood of a human. She doesn't really have to give anything in return. She keeps her voice and she keeps all of her free will. She simply is able to turn into a little girl instead of a fish. In Ponyo's story, her actions have serious consequences for everyone on land. Because she has broken the way of things by turning human, tides are wrong and the ocean becomes violent. There are terrific storms that threaten the entire town as well as all of the sailors at sea, including Sasaki's dad. Only when Sasaki promises to love and care for Ponyo, along with his mother, does the sea go back to normal. Now I know what you're thinking. Did I watch The Little Mermaid? Ariel's actions caused a whole storm of events that nearly killed everyone. The reason I don't think this is the same as Ponyo's story is because if Ursula didn't try to scam Ariel, there would have been no big storm, no shipwreck. King Triton would have always been the Sea King, not ever having turned into seaweed. The Triton would have remained safe. It was the villain's scheme and plot rather than the actual actions of Ariel getting legs. In Ponyo, there was no big scheme to ruin everyone's lives with a big storm. It was mainly the upset in the balance of nature. Ponyo simply didn't belong on land, and the ocean was reflecting the imbalance. That is the difference. One had no natural repercussions, and the other one did. Both of these films are based off of the same story. Both of them are award-winning staples of their time, memorable and fun to watch. But which one is better? Personally, I grew up with The Little Mermaid and watched Ponyo in college. So age, life experiences, and nostalgia play a role in my decision. They both have amazing animation, design, music, and acting. They both have their flaws as well. Personally, I love aspects of both. The Little Mermaid has some of the most memorable side characters, lines that I can quote in almost any situation, and amazing music. Ponyo has some of the most interesting animation and a storyline I adore. I'm not big on romance, so the love of a friend is much more appealing to me. But pointing out which one is better is a difficult decision to make. It may be a tie for me, possibly with Ponyo a little in the lead depending on the day. I am curious as to what you think. Which movie do you prefer and why? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Pupcorn. See you in the next Philosopher. Toodles!